Hi everyone, my name's Arnel. Today we're learning English from the news. You may have heard a lot about drones being talked about in the news lately. Today's lesson is all about that topic. I'm going to teach you advanced vocabulary to help you understand what you see in the news. I want you to practice your listening skill and improve your vocabulary. If you enjoy this type of lesson, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, a like, so I know I need to make more. I hope you're ready. Let's start. Okay, I'm gonna play the clip from the beginning.
Today, people in the New York metro area are reporting a growing number of drone sightings in their communities following a wave of mysterious drone appearances in the skies over New Jersey.
Okay, New York metro area. This is short for New York metropolitan area, and it's a really big area. It includes New York City and nearby places in New York State, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Drone sightings. Let's start with drone. If you want to understand today's lesson, you need to know what a drone is. Definition. A small flying machine that can be used for filming or deliveries. The farmer used a drone to spray pesticides on his crops. Fun fact, a drone is also a male bee. Maybe that's where the name for the machine comes from. I don't know, maybe. A sighting. 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 You know, see is a verb like we see with our eyes, and sight is the noun. So what's sighting? Definition. You see something that is unusual or important. There have been several sightings of UFOs in the area. A wave of something. These are waves. You know, at the beach there are always waves. Are waves normally big or small? Well, normally in the ocean they're pretty big, right? So a wave of something means a large number of things happening. After the announcement, there was a wave of protests in the city. A lot of protests. In today's lesson, I'll be stopping a lot to give you information. But if you want to watch this full clip uninterrupted, without interruptions, check out the link down below. It's from CNN and I'll link it down below for you. You can test yourself. You can watch the whole thing with this new vocabulary in mind. Let's keep going.
This is sparking significant concern among residents and local and state leaders. The White House and the FBI says there is no evidence that the drones pose a national security threat or have a foreign connection, but that's only adding to the confusion.
Okay. Sparking significant concern. Let's work backward here. Concern means worry. Significant means important and noticeable. Concern. Significant. These are sparks. They're bright pieces of fire that come off metal. Like when you need to start a fire, you're hoping for a spark. If something sparks something, does it start slowly or quickly? Quickly, like a spark. So to spark concern means to cause people to feel very worried quickly. Now let's put these three words together. Reports of the virus spreading quickly are sparking significant concern globally, which means this is causing people to worry quickly. To pose a threat. To pose a threat. definition to cause a threat. Quite often we see the verb pose with threat. It's a natural collocation. We often see pose a problem, pose a risk, pose a challenge. This means causes. The lack of parking spaces in the city center continues to pose a problem for businesses. And lack of means not enough. There aren't enough parking spaces.
So far, there are no explanations as to what they are, where they're coming from, or who is launching them. For weeks now, the drones have been spotted over homes, critical infrastructure, and sensitive government sites.
As to plus topic. This is such a small phrase, but it's an important one. It's also formal. About this topic or regarding this topic. Two teams joined together to work on the project. But there was confusion as to who was in charge. Confusion about who was in charge. Confusion regarding who was in charge. And many times we see this. As to plus question word. As to who, as to what, as to when, as to why, as to which. I don't really know what happened in the meeting, but there was some discussion as to when the end of the year bonuses would be distributed. To spot. Spot. To see or notice something. Something that isn't normally easy to find. I couldn't believe we spotted deer in the forest. Critical infrastructure. Let's start with infrastructure. 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 Infrastructure is everything that we build to make a city work, like roads, bridges, power stations, etc. Critical here means essential. We need this. So this infrastructure is essential, critical. The hurricane caused severe damage to the state's critical infrastructure.
Today, frustrated lawmakers have gone from asking questions to demanding answers.
This one here is interesting. To go from A to B. This means something changes from A to B. Macy has so many mood swings. She goes from being super happy to being super angry. Her moods change. We don't want the situation to go from bad to worse. So in this video, lawmakers have changed from asking questions to demanding answers. It sounds like they're pretty frustrated.
New Jersey can't become the Wild West of drone activity. No state can become the Wild West of drone activity. I've made this very clear to the FBI, to Homeland Security, and the FAA, the agencies chiefly responsible for monitoring drone activity.
The Wild West. A place with no rules, it can be chaotic. Why the Wild West? Well, when the US was expanding as a country, the West was considered wild and unexplored. So sometimes we still use the term the Wild West for a place that doesn't have rules. The early days of the internet were like the Wild West, with little regulation. In this clip, he is speaking about drone activity with no rules. It's like the Wild West. And the FAA. You'll hear this a couple of times in this clip. It stands for the Federal Aviation Administration, the US agency that oversees aviation. Aviation meaning the activity of flying.
They must immediately disclose more information to the public. It's totally and completely unacceptable that you have all this drone activity going on that people are seeing with their own eyes.
Here we have one. To disclose. disclose. Definition, to reveal or make information known. You could just say to tell people. This is disclose. You tell someone something important. A small retail chain refused to disclose how much money it had lost.
The fact that the federal agencies responsible for briefing the public have not come forward in a clear way is unacceptable. There has to be some explanation to the public for all this increased activity, and they must do so now.
Brief. Brief. This means to give specific information or instructions. The coach briefed the players on their strategy for the second half of the game. They were given specific instructions on what to do. Come forward. Come forward to help by giving information. Many times you see this in the news. Police are asking members of the public to come forward if they have any information regarding the kidnapping of a 3-year-old preschool student. So in this whole sentence, the man is saying federal agencies are not speaking to the public to help them. They have not come forward.
Let's discuss these mysterious drones with former FBI Supervisory Special Agent Tom Adams. He actually helped pioneer the FBI's counter-drone program used to respond to threats from unmanned aircraft.
Pause. So sorry. When I was filming, I completely forgot to mention pioneer. Pioneer. So let me do that one now. This means to be the first or one of the first people to do something new or innovative. The Wright brothers pioneered the development of powered flight and are considered the founders of modern aviation. You can see this picture. It's really old. This is when the two brothers were pioneering flight. Okay, back to the video. Thank you. Counter. Counter. This can be an adjective or a verb. Definition, to stop something or to have the opposite effect. You can see the word counter in a lot of bigger words, like this. Here you can see the clock moving clockwise. Clockwise means the normal direction of a clock. The other clock, this clock is moving counterclockwise. This means the opposite direction. You can see that one is moving clockwise, the other clock is moving counterclockwise, the opposite direction. So we also have things like a counter attack, something to stop an attack. Skipping meals to lose weight can be counterproductive because it slows down your metabolism. Skipping meals can have the opposite effect or can stop the effect. To counter the effects of stress, Miranda started practicing meditation every morning. Unmanned. Unmanned. Without a human operator or crew. An unmanned submersible was sent to explore the depths of the ocean trench.
Thank you so much for being with us, Tom. First off, what do you think is behind these drones? Do you think it's more likely to be some kind of concerted surveillance effort, an issue of misidentification or copycats?
First off, this is used to introduce the first point in a discussion. First off, I'd like to thank everyone for coming to this meeting. First off, let's discuss the budget for this project. Behind. Yes, you already know that behind is a preposition like this. She is hiding behind the curtains. But in this case, behind means the reason for something or who is responsible for something. Steve Jobs was the visionary behind Apple's most iconic products. In this clip, the question is, what do you think is the reason for all of these drones? What do you think is behind all of these drones? Concerted. Concerted. Done together with effort from multiple people or groups. I'm so proud of my team. They made a concerted effort to finish everything before the end of the year. Like a group effort. Many times we see concerted with effort, but we can also say a concerted action, a concerted campaign. Those work too. Surveillance. Surveillance. Closely watching someone or something, often for security. Here you see a picture of a surveillance camera. In this report, we have a concerted surveillance effort. There's a lot of vocabulary in this part here. One more. Ooh. Copycat. A copycat. A person who copies another person's ideas, style, etc. After the singer's success, many copycats try to mimic her style.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I think we're looking at a few different things. First, I do believe that there are probably some legitimate visual drone sightings by alert residents and law enforcement in New Jersey.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. I hope you enjoyed the party. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Legitimate. Legitimate. Real, not fake. And follows the law. We're usually speaking about non-physical things like businesses, job offers, reasons or excuses. The company claims its business practices are completely legitimate. This means everything they do is completely legal. If a website doesn't look legitimate, don't buy anything from it.
Now, what these drones may be doing, if they're nefarious or not, we don't know. Are they or not following FAA rules and regulations? That's up for debate.
Nefarious. Nefarious. You're going to hear this word a few more times coming up. Evil, criminal, like that. In all superhero movies, the villain has a nefarious plan to take over the city. An evil plan. And villain means bad guy, the bad character in a movie. That's up for debate. That's up for debate. When we say something is up for debate, this means something is not decided. And we need a debate. Whether our boss's sales tactic will work is still up for debate. We'll have to wait and see. In this video, are the drones following FAA regulations? We don't know. It's undecided.
I think we're probably seeing some copycat drones flying up in the air with all the media attention. So we're seeing a combination of that.
Right. I'm speeding this part up because there really isn't anything significant being said. This is also a great time for me to tell you that if you want all the notes for today's lesson, all of this vocabulary, you can join my channel, become a member, and download all these notes today.
I want you to expand on that, but first I'm curious about how officials can make the determination that there isn't a public safety threat if they don't actually know whether some of these drones may be nefarious or not, or conducting nefarious activity.
Yeah, so you can't look at a drone or a blinking light in the sky and really determine whether it is or is not a threat. So, aside from any specific threat information or specific identification of drones or where they may be coming from, I don't think you can really say that they're a threat. So I think there's still a lot of information gathering to be done so we can get some definitive answers.
Last two in this lesson. I know there's been a lot of information. Aside from, except for or besides. Aside from the wind, it was a perfect day for a picnic. This means that everything was perfect except for the wind. Samantha enjoys all sports aside from basketball. Samantha enjoys all sports, but not basketball. You can see this phrase can begin a sentence or be in the middle of a sentence. Definitive answers. We need definitive answers. Clear and certain. Dr. Jameson was hoping for definitive answers regarding the patient's condition after several tests, but they still need more data. He doesn't have a clear answer. Okay, we watched the entire clip together. Long story short, nobody knows what the drones are, but I still hope you learned something new. Don't forget, if you want to watch the entire clip uninterrupted, check out the link down below. Really, watch it one time and really test your listening. How much vocabulary can you remember? I really want to thank you for watching today's lesson. If you like this lesson, give it a thumbs up. I can't wait to make another video for you, and I'll see you very soon.